do not give up on your legal status. Many people fail to respond to RFE or file an application before the deadline. This is why we offer a strategy session for 15 minutes at no cost to you. Not everyone qualifies. First, you need to speak with our CARES team. We receive many requests, so we recommend you answer a few questions on our website, greencardguys.com. Our mission is to help people live and work in America legally. Go ahead and subscribe below and follow and share. Talk to you soon. How are y'all doing? All right, today is December 20th, and today I want to share 3 tips with y'all related to employment-based applications, sponsoring a foreign national. So this is specific for companies, employers who want to sponsor a foreign national, an immigrant, okay? All right, so if you have any questions, of course, you're welcome to drop it in the comment section, and I'll try my best to answer them. And so if you have questions about anything else other than employment-based, great. You can ask them. Want to try to help you, point you in the right direction, and maybe even maybe assist you. It'll be our pleasure to assist you from start to finish. My name is John Ting. I practice immigration law in all 50 states of America and trying to prevent the problem from happening in the first place, okay? Now, tip number 1, okay, that you need to know. Since it's December, it's, hey, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to y'all. Hope you're all doing well and safe. But with now it's almost, it is December 20th. So it's about 2 months, really, 2.5 months until the H-1B work visa registration, okay? So it's coming up soon, all right? So what that means is if you're wondering if you have a degree, undergrad degree or master's degree, or maybe you don't even have the degree, right? So that's really goes to tip number 1. And that is if you are about to graduate, but you haven't graduated by March, right? Because that's when the registration is. You might think, oh, shoot, like, can I even qualify to be registered? Yes, you can, as long as you have a degree as evidence before the filing deadline, which is a separate date than the registration deadline, okay? It's more like a registration period, like about 2 weeks with USCIS, all right? Because June, the end of the last day of June is a deadline for the actual package, the forms, the evidence. So really keep that in mind. Don't give up just because you're like, oh, well, I don't have my degree yet, but you actually would get it pretty soon. All right, let's see if that works. All right. So that was tip number 1. Tip number 2, if you're sponsoring someone for whether it's H-1B or EB, the job description is very, very important, okay? USCIS and the Department of Labor do not want you to circumvent the process. So meaning HR tends to put preferred qualifications, okay, in your job description. I totally get it, right? But when you're sponsoring a foreign national, and this is the whole purpose of going through this process for recruitment, you want to put the minimum qualifications, okay? Because if what you have right now, preferred qualifications, is not technically industry standard, then, there's unfortunately not one website that says this is industry standard, right? But through research and whatnot, that's what we help with on a job description, okay? Because some people that might say, like, HR might say, oh, you need 5, I'm looking for someone who has 5 years experience or senior level, when really that kind of position is not really 5 years, like maybe like 2 years experience. So that's something to consider, because the long short of it here is that the job description, yes, you basically use that job description for step 1, prevailing wage. And if this is for EB, labor certification, but even before that, for recruitment, right? Because you have to post the job like on Indeed or other websites in the publication, depending on the type of position. So very, very important. Keep the questions coming. I'm not going to answer right now because I'm going to go through my topic of the day. But thank you for asking questions. Welcome to share your experience. And we'll be on for about 15 minutes or so today. Okay, so the third tip y'all need to know related to employment-based sponsorship is that you might have a couple hiccups, all right? And so that's why it's very, very important to understand the process. We try our best, and we're continually trying to share more information to literally share uh, everything that you need to know, whether it's through the employer's perspective or employee for national perspective. Because I know y'all can be a little bit stressed about it if you don't know what's going on, if you don't know the steps, what's involved. We're happy to share it. And if your client on the show right now joining in, ask questions. Okay, that's why we're here. That's why we're authorized to help you to get legal status. Now, so ask questions. I guess that's really my third tip today. Ask questions, because if you don't understand the timeline, the steps, and then when we first, not first, but we shared multiple times, but when we finally say, hey, we need XYZ document by 1 or 2 weeks, you might be feel like you're scrambling too late, right? So we're always happy to answer some questions. So some attorneys might think like, oh, why is so and so asking? That's like way too early. I'm We don't mind at all, because we think it's very important that you understand all those steps. All right. So bonus tip for y'all, okay, is that don't be afraid. If you're an employee or foreign national, don't be afraid to ask if you can get sponsored by a company. I know some people are worried about that, especially since they're EB. They have to go through recruitment, post a job. For H-1B, they don't have to do that. Companies don't have to, fortunately. But for EB, for residency, they do. So from time to time, there could be some people, it's rare though, but if a company does find a more qualified candidate, then they could hire that person to stop the process for you. But here's why this is a bonus tip. If this is very helpful to still try this, if you don't have any other way to get sponsored, or let's say you have a sibling who is a U.S. citizen and does have a petition on file for you, but the family petition based on siblings, brother or sister, takes like average 10 years, right? So are you willing to wait? I mean, it's great to have the petition on file just to be in the waiting line essentially, but you really need to consider all your options. So we are working on a website to help connect companies in America with folks who are either abroad or in the US for foreign nationals, as like a sister company. The law firm doesn't want to have any association with it. And so I think a lot of y'all would appreciate something like that to make it easier for companies to understand what they're looking at for immigration. So of course, they'll have some kind of immigration angle to save them everyone some time, because I know some people might not share, might not even, employers might not even have the question, are you a foreign national? I think like some websites might ask that, but then let's say you go through the whole interview process, like 3 to 5 steps with the company, and then somehow in the conversation you're like, yeah, I need to be sponsored. I have OPT or whatnot. I don't have any status. I have DACA. And then they're like, I don't know anything about immigration law. We don't have an immigration lawyer on hand. And so, of course, you could say like, hey, I actually know, I know an immigration lawyer, right? But in general, because of course you can say Team Law Group, and we're happy to help. We have short video clips we can share, so it saves some time for the employer as well, or HR. But here's the deal: if you share that so late in the game, it gives these companies probably, I'm going to assume, a bad taste, right? They might not want to even try to attempt to sponsor someone. So I really think it's to save you some time, because by the time you go through like interview 2 to 5, right, that you might have wait and not like utilize the other possible interviews, because you could think like, oh, like this company has already taken me to step 3 or something, step 5 the interview process, and then they don't hire you, they don't extend an offer, right? So then I don't want you to lose all these possible other opportunities. So it's really behooves you to mention something about needing to be sponsored in advance. Now, I'm not saying like in the first interview, you like before the first thing you say is like, "Hey, I need to get sponsored." Like, I mean, HR is not gonna like that, right? But so yeah, it is difficult to probably. I've not been in your shoes, so this is a privileged situation, right? Privilege for that, but yeah, just try to give an idea, because I hire people, right? I hire team members, and so for y'all, if you don't know, like it's actually on employer side, it's encouraged to have a longer interview process, like multiple interviews, to make sure we got the right team member, meet our core values, understands the job, the responsibilities. So I know it might suck on your side, to be honest, but maybe I shouldn't have said it that way. But it's also you also want to make sure you're a right fit for that the company is a right fit for you, if I phrase that correctly. So I really actually think the more interviews that you have, the better for you. So you can really have time to ask those questions, because I like to think it's actually a waste of time for both sides. If you go down a path and then you both reveal something like it's not a right fit, it's kind of like matchmaking, I guess. So anyway, just something to think about. And if you have any questions, welcome again to drop it down in the comment section on your respective platform. And let's see what we got here. Good to see you, Tony. Welcome from the Bay. I remember that. All right. Well, if no questions from on LinkedIn, I'm going to remove from LinkedIn. All right. See y'all later. All right. No, not y'all. But all right. So here we are on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. My goodness, 4 different platforms, and I was just on 5. Isn't it wild how many social media? Y'all have your own preferences. Okay, Francis asks, okay, you got some questions here. I'm just going to answer Francis first because she's got several here. You just had an immigrant visa interview 2 days ago, but your visa was refused and put in admin processing. Your case is under review and no action is required for you. You say your documents are all complete and the adjudicator almost approved your visa. Why do you say almost? The issue started when he requested your photos. He noticed that your wife is older than you, and then hence the refusal, putting you in admin processing. You answered all the questions correctly. Did I see something about Iran? No, I don't think so. Well, here's the deal. I don't have percentages on admin processing, like how many cases are in admin processing now, and you didn't ask that. But the reason I say this, because I really do believe, maybe just because I get a lot of comments about this or questions, and also like we have the strategy session, a lot of people are put in admin processing. I know a lot of y'all want to try to guess, like, why did it show refused? First thing about that, the definition of visa refusal can encompass, it includes so many different scenarios that don't assume that it's over, okay? Don't assume, don't give up on it, all right? Please don't give up, because that's actually a good amount of clients that ask us to help out, whether it's a mandamus lawsuit or take over the case, a request for reconsideration, even for one of our own clients. I'm not going to name the consulate, but the officer got confused, okay, on where they got married, if there was a marriage. Yeah, my live is bugging a lot. Thanks, Moy, for saying that. I don't know, like, because it's something about TikTok. Maybe they want to glitch me out, or phase me out. But on my other platforms, the internet's fine, so it's weird. And when I was outside, it was completely fine when I tried to go live to try it. But anyway, thanks for mentioning that. Okay, but back to Francis' situation, admin processing. A lot of people are stuck, but don't give up. We requested by email, request for reconsideration, explain the situation, explain the law on why they have to reconsider, because what they were trying to come up with or have an issue with was a marriage date, the location, how it was conducted. And we mentioned in there the law that USCIS is the only agency that's supposed to review something like this, not at the consulate level, okay? So each agency has their own responsibility. So you all don't know that. Y'all are just clumping all these different agencies with immigration. I get that. That's okay. But there comes a time when you need to really think about hiring a lawyer. And I get it. There's so many lawyers out there you don't know. You don't know them. If you want to get to know us, check out our website, greencardguys.com. All right. So just don't wait, because some people wait. It doesn't have to be us, Ting Law Group. It could be someone else. It doesn't. The point is, talk to a lawyer, okay? And did I just lose my voice? Talk to an immigration lawyer, please. If you got a criminal case, talk to a criminal defense lawyer. If you got immigration case, talk to an immigration lawyer who focus on this stuff. Okay. By the way, folks, if you have to jump off the live before you flip off, swipe your fingers, follow. Okay, give us a follow, and we appreciate it. So if you do have a question in the future, you can message us in the future. Okay. So Francis, sorry, I had to share all that context for you and others because I mean yours was just recent, but I wouldn't put too much weight on the photos. I mean, generally, even our clients, when it's consular processing, the reason for admin processing is not about the legitimacy of the marriage. Okay, that's not so much about that. It's more about inadmissibility reasons. So one of the ones since pandemic that's been more highlighted is the like if you took if you took the COVID-19 vaccine or not. Because even though we don't have the CDC doesn't have an emergency measure right now proclamation for immigration purposes, you still and you want to become resident. I'm not talking about like H-1B. If you want to be a permanent resident in the United States, you have to take the COVID-19 vaccine or qualify for an exemption. Um, so hopefully that helps out in that sense. But yeah, just stay tuned. Okay, keep checking your status once a week, but it might not move. Like there's plenty of people that talk with us and it hasn't moved like 6 months, 9 months to a year. But if you find out what the actual reason is for admin processing or visa refusal, let us know. Let your lawyer know, or let a lawyer know, so they can maybe consider a motion for reconsideration. So anyway, our client, a success story, a win in our book is ching. I got a bell, by the way, for the team. I know it might sound a little silly, but law is too serious, so I had to do something to recognize the wins that our team works really hard on for our clients. But essentially, what's it called? That we emailed that about 2 months ago, and they didn't respond anything. Right? Client asked, of course. We don't shy away from that. Y'all, if you become a client, don't be shy to ask questions. So client just asked, even though we do have reminders in our system, case management system. Client asked, we're like, yeah, of course, let's go ahead and ask for a follow-up. Like, we emailed everything we needed to. Is there anything else you need to reverse the visa refusal to issue the visa? Like 24 hours issued. Like all it took was me to email, and it's fine, right? Like we're all busy in our day-to-day life. I get it. These officers are probably just not enough officers, visa interviewing officers. So I'm not going to hate them on it, but that's why we have a case management system, and that's why we welcome clients to contact us. So so the great thing is client doesn't have to refile petition and just do the whole thing over again. Thank the Lord. Now they can be together. All right. So believe in your own God, but let's see. Do they decide? Sorry, Francis, I got to get to another question and come back to you. Veronica on TikTok. Sorry, y'all on TikTok. Man, I'm losing a lot of y'all because of this. Have an interview next month for 485. Is it stressful being married since 2021? Man, being married is stressful, I bet. But if you're talking about the marriage interview itself, it can be stressful, but it doesn't have to be. Of course, if it's a legitimate marriage, some of y'all are still worried, right? But the key thing here for anyone going through a green card marriage interview is bringing updated evidence, right? Because a lot of people say like, "Oh, I already provided evidence," right? It's not just a marriage certificate. If you had a joint bank account, which I really hope you did, or at least a credit card account, or as added as an authorized user, you only need to have one account together. That's all it takes. They never ask like, "Hey, how many accounts do you have? Why not all 5?" No, it's not. That's just not realistic. All right, just human nature. We don't like to share a joint bank or be in a joint bank account. I get it, but you have to use that account, by the way, right? So when you use that account, show transaction activity in your statements. That's why the officers want to see this, USCIS officer. Okay, so hopefully that helps you out in that. But of course, we have for us when clients hire us, even when it's just for the interview, we're happy to do that. We don't mind. We just have to review the entire file. We have a link for short videos on prep, and then we invite clients to actually schedule with us like one-on-one. Alrighty. Let's see here. All right, what's the next question? DEP on YouTube got a consult from us a couple months ago. Keep doing your thing, John. Well, thank you. Hopefully, sounds like you appreciate our consult. If you haven't yet, if anyone's talked to our team members, please, if you don't mind, especially if you spoke to any of our team members and you appreciate the conversation, whether you had an actual consultation or not, please go to reviewtinglaw.com, reviewtinglaw.com, and it takes you to a Google review. But yeah, we really appreciate it. Our leadership team provides bonuses to them, to the team members based on customer service. Alrighty, and of course, timely filing your case to immigration, to USCIS, very, very important. All right, so thank you for your comment. And two, AJ, can an employer sponsor someone who is already? Oh shoot, I missed it. Maria, can you find that one again? Let's see here. Let me go back up. I found it. Can employer sponsor someone who's already undocumented and has been living in the U.S.? It's possible, but it's a complex legal situation, as you can imagine. Even if someone has filed for asylum or have DACA, you really have to see about unlawful presence. If you do have unlawful presence, meaning from age 18 until however you are now, when you step outside the United States for the visa interview, that's going to trigger the unlawful presence bar. So you've been in the U.S. for more than a year, then it triggers the 10-year bar if you leave, right? But if you file for asylum within 1 year of your entry or within 1 year of change of status, let's say from F1 to no status essentially, then, or if you have DAC or TPS, the timing matters. So you might have to apply for a waiver. And that means you need to be eligible for waiver 601A, and not everyone is. So the common thing is that a lot of people think like you can adjust status in America. It's very not likely. So you have to get your mindset ready for a visa interview. Okay. But minimum, just for the regular EB case, it's going to take minimum 2 years. If you're from China, Mexico, or Philippines, especially China and India, it's going to take like several more years because of retrogression, unfortunately, the visa bulletin. But that doesn't cover everything, but that's just like one of the several main points. So if you're interested in that, talk with our team, give us a call. By the way, we do offer a consultation at no cost to you for 15 minutes, but not everyone qualifies. Okay. I'm sorry. We can't offer to everyone. We're humans, right? We're not bots. So we have limited time in a day. So that's just something to consider. Okay, folks. So please don't hate us if we don't offer a consult at no cost. But the best way to do that is go to our website, greencardguys.com, or give us a call. Okay. And if you go to our website, go to the contact page and click on verify now. All right, I can answer one more question. Thanks for staying on. Let's see who's still on. Well, Francis, you said your spouse is 40 years old. Well, how old are you? I mean, if it's 10, I would say we've had cases approved like 10 or more years difference. But look, if it's 20, might be cutting it close there, buddy. So, no, I don't want to give you a hard time on that. But seriously though, I don't. It's not always so much about marriage evidence, but the thing is, like, yeah, the worst case. One other worst case scenario is they do like intent to revoke and send the file back to USCIS. But at the end of the day, if it was you were legally married, then like meaning you weren't if you were divorced before, or your spouse was divorced before, then there's a divorce order on file, and timing to get y'all got married was accurate, correct, legally correct, then that's one key thing. But just because of age difference, it's really true. Age is nothing but a number. So you just have to prove it through documentation, okay? That's the other thing, folks. Hot tip right here. Hot tip right here. Don't be so encouraging to be so willing to provide photos. That actually is not the best evidence for y'all. Okay. It's really not. Some of y'all think that, but it's not. Okay. So if we do provide photos, which we do, it's average like 5 to 10 photos, and that's it. I've had some clients bring like a photo album to the interview. I was like, yo, what are you doing? We did not agree to this, because it's just too overwhelming for an officer. And the evidence that an officer needs to make a decision on is not based on photos. It certainly could help, but it could also hurt your case. So maybe that hurt your case, Francis. I hope not, though. Let's see. All right, God Kid, if you're still on, can your dad, your U.S. citizen dad, sponsor an undocumented son who overstayed on visa? Mm, well, did you enter with the visa? That's really the first thing we ask if you enter a visa, and then how old are you, right? Assuming you're the son, or if you're under 21, then yeah, they can still file for you. But if you become over 21, then still file for you, but it becomes an issue about where you can have the interview. Okay. Because if you're under 21, then we call that immediate relative, and that can be done in the US if you enter with visa. So it may sound complicated for us attorneys, like it's very clear, but we just need to have, follow-up conversation. Okay, God Kid on Instagram. So really encourage you to schedule a meeting with us. I don't know if you can see this, but yeah, call us or DM us so you can get more information. Okay, I can answer. Sorry, y'all. I have to cut off now. I really appreciate y'all joining. I do have to get to a team meeting, and I don't want to make my team mad because I'm going to train them right now. So thank you so much. If you, again, appreciate any of your advice, please go ahead and go to reviewtinglaw.com, and then also join the club. Go to our Facebook group if you have Facebook. If you don't worry about it. But if you have Facebook, go to tinglawclub.com and welcome to ask questions over there as well. Okay. All right. Appreciate it. And tomorrow's Thursday, so I should be able to see y'all. All right. Take care.